The execution lied Trump's inflammatory rhetoric. Donald Trump, during a presidential debate, made a shocking claim that left many stunned. He accused Democrats of supporting the execution of babies after birth, a statement that sent shockwaves through the nation. This inflammatory language, designed to shock and appall, was immediately debunked by numerous fact-checkers and journalists. ABC News anchor Lindsay Davis pointed out the obvious: such actions are illegal everywhere and have no basis in reality. Trump, however, continued to repeat this falsehood at rallies and press conferences, undeterred by the truth. He cited out-of-context remarks from Democrats, twisting their words to fit his narrative. Medical professionals were aghast, and fact-checkers worked overtime to correct the misinformation. Trump's words were not just inaccurate, they were deeply offensive to women and families facing agonizing pregnancy decisions, adding to their distress. Trump's use of the word execution was no accident. It was a deliberate choice to provoke and incite. It was a calculated move to demonize his opponents and inflame his base, ensuring their loyalty and support. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a broader strategy. Throughout his presidency, Trump consistently made misleading claims about abortion, particularly late-term abortions, to rally his base. He painted a picture of Democrats supporting infanticide, a claim debunked time and again by experts and fact-checkers. Why repeat a lie so often? Because repetition can make falsehoods seem true. For Trump, truth was irrelevant. What mattered was the narrative he created. What mattered was the impact on his supporters, who believed and echoed his words. These claims, however false, served a purpose: to attack his opponents, energize his supporters, and maintain his political power. The Northam controversy, a moment that was deeply misunderstood and misrepresented. The roots of Trump's execution claim can be traced back to the year 2019, a year marked by intense political debates and media scrutiny. Then Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, a Democrat, found himself at the center of a media firestorm, a storm that would have lasting repercussions. Northam, while discussing the sensitive topic of third-trimester abortions in cases of severe fetal abnormalities, made comments that were quickly weaponized by his political opponents. His words, clumsily phrased and easily taken out of context, were twisted to suggest he supported infanticide, a grave misrepresentation of his actual stance. The right-wing media machine went into overdrive, painting Northam as a monster, a villain in a narrative that was far from the truth. Medical experts rushed to clarify the situation, hoping to set the record straight amidst the growing chaos. Northam, they explained, was referring to palliative care for newborns with no chance of survival, a compassionate approach in heartbreaking circumstances. In such tragic situations, parents and doctors sometimes choose to provide comfort care, a decision made with the utmost love and consideration. This means allowing the baby to die naturally, surrounded by love, rather than subjecting them to painful and ultimately futile medical interventions. Trump, however, saw an opportunity in this controversy, a chance to further his political agenda. He seized on Northam's misconstrued words, using them to paint all Democrats as extremists, a tactic designed to inflame and divide. This was a classic Trump tactic. Take a kernel of truth, distort it beyond recognition, and use it to bludgeon your opponents, a strategy that has become all too familiar in modern politics. Fact-checking the fiction, debunking Trump's claims. Fact-checking organizations, facing an onslaught of Trumpian falsehoods, were working overtime. These dedicated professionals sifted through countless statements, tirelessly working to separate fact from fiction. They stressed a simple fact: infanticide is illegal everywhere, and no mainstream Democrat supports it. This is a point that has been reiterated time and again by legal experts and politicians alike. Trump, undeterred by reality, continued to make specific accusations. His speeches were filled with dramatic claims that often had little basis in truth. He targeted Vice President Kamala Harris, a staunch advocate for abortion rights, claiming she supported infanticide. This accusation was not only false but also inflammatory, designed to provoke strong emotional reactions. He went after Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who signed legislation protecting abortion access, accusing him of the same. Walz, like Harris, has been clear in his stance, supporting women's rights while condemning false narratives. These accusations, like so many others, were baseless. Fact-checkers quickly dismantled these claims, providing evidence and context to the public. Fact-checkers, citing Harris's and Walz's voting records and public statements, debunked them swiftly and thoroughly. Their records show consistent support for legal and safe abortion access, not the extreme scenarios painted by Trump. Trump also repeatedly lied about the prevalence of late-term abortions. His rhetoric suggested these procedures were common and casually performed. He painted a picture of these procedures being commonplace, even casual. This portrayal was far from the truth and misled many. The reality, as data clearly shows, is starkly different. Medical professionals and researchers have consistently shown that late-term abortions are rare. Late-term abortions account for a tiny fraction of all abortions, less than 1%. This statistic is crucial in understanding the true scope of the issue. They are performed only in extreme cases, when the fetus has severe abnormalities, or the mother's life is in danger. These are heart-wrenching decisions made under dire circumstances, not the casual choices Trump described. Late-term abortions, a rare and difficult reality. Late-term abortions are often misunderstood, portrayed by anti-abortion activists as something they are not. The reality is far more nuanced and heartbreaking. These procedures are usually performed when devastating medical conditions are discovered late in pregnancy. Imagine a woman carrying a much-wanted pregnancy, only to learn in her third trimester that her baby has a fatal condition, one that will result in unimaginable suffering. These decisions are never made lightly. They are the product of agonizing conversations between the woman, her family, and her medical team. The reasons women seek abortions later in pregnancy are complex. Some may have faced barriers to earlier care, such as lack of access or financial constraints. Others may have received new and devastating medical information about their pregnancy. It's crucial to approach these situations with empathy and understanding, recognizing that each woman's journey is unique.